Welcome, Nynke. It has been a while since we've last had a conversation around the different programs and
Hmm.
services. And as someone who's in the urban regeneration field where you hold spaces for others, I'm curious as to how you're designing for difference. And so this conversation is really about knowing more about the work that you're doing, how you're creating programs, how you're designing spaces, holding spaces, and
Hmm.
how are you designing for difference in ways that promote belonging? So Ninka, tell us about you and the work that you're doing.
My name is Nynke Vos, and I'm from Groningen, the Netherlands, and I do lots of things. I'm self-employed part youth worker, and in both spaces I design events, projects, and also guide young people when they're struggling, and a lot of them are also neurodiverse. Um, so that's what I do in my job. And besides that, I'm a grief counselor. So I work one-on-one, but also host spaces around grief and grief processing. So that's me.
Mm, I
Yes.
know just recently you've had a project around grief. And can you tell us more about that? What was it that you did in your city and how was
Ah,
that
yeah,
experience?
yeah. So I hosted a greenhouse which was open during 2 weeks around Christmas in December for the city, and everybody could come in and be with their grief, whatever that was. It was open, silent. People could light a candle, write a ribbon, hang it in the tree, and write something on a postcard to heaven or whatever you believe in. So that's what I did for 2 weeks, and it was very good, very well received. I think we burned 10,000s of candles, and
Wow.
yeah, we had about 6,000 visitors during those weeks, all yeah,
Yeah, it must be
participating and being with that grief. Yeah.
it must be so fascinating and such an honor to create spaces like that and
Yes.
programs where people can come in, be fully themselves, and also the different types of people that come in these spaces.
Yes.
I know that you are currently doing a project for
Yeah.
neurodivergent individuals. Can you tell us more about this project?
Yes. So I work in youth care, and my company also runs Erasmus programs. And this one is around neurodiversity for women,
Mm.
because there's not a lot in place in the different countries, especially for girls and women who kind of like express their neurodiversity in a different way. Lots of time go unnoticed. So it's part researching the differences, what's in place for girls, and trying to uh, teach each other in the different countries, like, oh, maybe this could help, and do make recommendations for people in the field and also for companies. It's like, how do I onboard somebody? How can I make my company more inclusive? And I'm in the middle of uh, creating the next meetup, which would will be professionals and young women uh, to learn from each other and to be with each other here in the
Oh,
city. Yeah.
I would love to take part in something like this. Like what you said, it's unfortunate that we don't have emphasis around neurodiversity and women in general and girls in general, right? So
Yeah.
there's hardly any specific projects or programs around that. And so,
Yeah.
what what has been your process so far in terms of designing for these spaces for this project? What have you
Yeah.
learned, and what are the top tips that you can give for those who are thinking of designing spaces like the one that you designed around grief
Mhm.
or the gathering that you're designing for women? What have you learned so far that we can share with other professionals?
Um, yeah, I can share what I really learned is to work with neurodivergent women. So my colleague who is autistic and has ADHD is joining me. I also had an advisory board of two young girls that kind of like help making also like products, like how can we invite people, how can we create also tools for others. And what I will do is to like show the space beforehand. Like it's little things that I think my core question is what makes us feel comfortable and safe in order to fully show up. And I think that is a really good question to carry with me while designing. So we're gonna do videos of all the hosts that present themselves beforehand so people can see and also like hear their voices before they come. I will send pictures and videos of the hotel we're gonna be at. I want to make a questionnaire also about around specific interest people have so I can give them like personal tips like, oh, there's a this beautiful bookstore or this coffee place if you're really into coffee. So these kind of welcoming ways to be to I think if I would join the event, that would make me feel really invited. So there's like a lot in the invitation beforehand, and then there's the hosting itself. There's ground rules, like self-care is absolutely okay, and I think in that you know if your social battery is full, you leave. If the sound is too much, you know to really invite people to share what they need in order to have a good experience, and for me to like iterate the space or see if I can manage to solve the things that people are bothered about. So that's more in the hosting. And I think we all believe that these things are clear to people, but I think it's really important to really, just put them up. This is all okay. And this is a rule instead of like, if you are bothered, you can say it, but there's a rule that if you are bothered, you need to speak up, to make it more like a permission space that you have permission
Mm.
to share what you need. The sessions will be a little bit shorter with longer breaks. Lunches, I'm going to let them decide if they want to have it in their room or shared. To really, yeah, to have ways that people can choose and to have different options in order to make people feel comfortable. So there's that. There will be joint dinners, which are also optionals, but I will pick the restaurants, to have a separate room and check out the sound and the lighting before, all of that.
I
Yeah.
would love to be part of that.
Thank you.
You know,
Yeah.
just hearing how you're preparing for this in such a very intentional way, right? Of like co-designing, which is
Hmm.
one big tenet that we have when we're talking about designing for difference.
Yeah.
Looking at who is in the space anyway, and how can their needs be put at the center,
Yeah.
are crucial. And from what you were sharing, and I can imagine how much agency that you're bringing in for women to decide, would you want to do this, would you want to be part of this, or
Mhm.
or maybe they've had too much and they just want to disengage. And that's, what you said, it's totally okay.
Yeah.
Being reminded that it's totally okay
Yeah.
is very
Yeah.
crucial. And I love how you center safety, which is one of the tenets around designing for difference is,
Hmm.
the three S. And safety is very crucial in these spaces because we know already, right? The minute that, our nervous system is triggered,
Yeah.
there's no learning, there's no
No.
engagement, right?
No.
So people tend to be disconnected. They
Yeah.
don't know how to engage. And so safety is a fundamental
Yeah.
part of spaces like this.
Yeah, that's true. And I think for women, I think the explicit parts, it's like to really tell them what is okay, is even more important because we tend to like, pretend that we're okay a lot more. So yeah, I really want to focus on that. And yeah, and try to make a really good program. And I'm gonna test it out. I made a brain map that people can start with to kind of map what are my triggers, what are my glimmers, so that we kind of
Mm.
know that of each other and they can share in pairs, things like that. So yeah, I'm really excited to make something beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for all
Ah.
these strategies. I know for those who would be watching these videos, they've, especially when you're a facilitator, there's a lot of these strategies that Nynke has already shared that would be great, for you to implement in your next event, in your next project. So thank you, Nynke. And like I said, I'm looking forward to hearing some more or taking part
Yeah.
in these gatherings. And
Yes.
we wish you the best in this project.
Thank you.